Golden Age Radio is starting now. Subscribe to get future updates.
Hey everybody, get ready for some great shows. Starting out with Cavalcade of America, Lux Theater with some great Hollywood stars, Groucho Marx, one of the best comedians in history, and also followed by the hilarious Red Skelton.
The Cavalcade of America, presented by DuPont. Prior to the American Revolution, English players held a monopoly on theatrical entertainment in this country. One of the first Americans who dared persist in the theory that American folk life and characters were worth portrayal on the stage was Joseph Jefferson, America's first great comedian, whose name is synonymous with his most famous characterization, Rip Van Winkle. It is the story of Jefferson that we are dramatizing this evening. And everyone who has fought to gain an objective in business or music or on the stage should feel a certain kinship with a famed American actor. For example, I know a lot of research chemists who would be sympathetic. These men know perhaps better than any of us what it is to make literally hundreds of attempts before reaching a goal, or perhaps having to discard an idea altogether after working on it for years. But DuPont chemists and others the world over constantly are creating new products or improving existing ones for the greater comfort and convenience of us all. Their objective is aptly expressed in the DuPont pledge: better things for better living through chemistry. As an overture, Don Voorhees and his Cavalcade Orchestra will play Poor Piero from Jerome Kern's operetta, The Cat and the Fiddle. Joseph Jefferson's choice of profession was neither accidental nor surprising. His father was actor-manager of a troupe of traveling players, his mother a featured actress in the company, and young Joseph was born literally in the theater. Many hardships attended his father's pioneering efforts to bring drama within the reach of provincial Americans. A characteristic incident occurred when Joseph was 9 years old. The company was journeying by packet boat on the Erie Canal, attempting to meet expenses by playing in the various towns along the route. The night after their Syracuse engagement, young Joseph, his mother and father, and the actors are gathered in the cabin of the packet boat. The actors are obviously disgruntled.
I tell you, my worthy followers of Thespis, with one more disaster, such as befell us at Syracuse last night, we shall not live to reach Chicago.
Mother, why do they say that? Do they fear the Indians will shoot us?
No, Joseph. They're complaining because we don't make more money.
Mr. Jefferson. Yes? As you know, we are all experienced actors of reputation.
Why, of course.
That empty house we played to in Syracuse last night was an affront to our dignity.
Yes, and to our pocketbooks as well.
It is not a matter for jest, Mr. Jefferson. I agree. I suspect we did not take in enough money to pay our full passage on this boat.
Your suspicions are entirely correct, my dear lady.
Mr. Jefferson, this is not a time for levity. The situation is serious.
Good evening, Mr. Jefferson.
Oh, good evening, Captain. Unpleasant weather on the Erie tonight.
I ain't come to discuss the weather, Mr. Jefferson. I come to discuss a matter of $10 passage money that's still owing to me. And if that money ain't paid by the time we get to Buffalo, I'm warning you. I'll hold all your luggage.
You mean you'll hold our costumes and clothing? Why, that's ridiculous.
Oh, Mr. Jefferson.
Yes,
it's an
he's
outrage.
responsible. Please be reasonable, Captain. It was not our fault that it rained in Syracuse last night.
I know nothing about it and care less. Acting's the devil's business. My parents' teaching don't permit me to see play acting on a stage. But, I'll tell you. I've got a hankering to see what acting's like. I'll make you a sporting proposition, Mr. Jefferson.
Yes, Captain?
If the folks in your troupe will cut up for me here a bit in the cabin, just to give me a taste of what play acting's like, I'll call it square about the passage money you owe me.
Well, now that is a sporting proposition. Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard the captain's offer. Will you help me redeem your luggage by performing a scene from one of our plays?
No, why, certainly not. I should say not.
Captain's offer is an insult to our profession, asking us to cut up for him. I shall retire to the upper deck.
And I will go with you.
Oh, stay, please stay. It'll be such an easy matter to oblige the captain.
I should say no.
Oh, let them go, dear. We'll find some way to pay the captain if I have to sign on as a deckhand.
Father,
Yes, Joe?
let me help. I'll give the captain a show.
What? A little shaver like? 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 What? A little lad know about play acting.
Well, I'll have you know, Captain, that my son is the fourth Jefferson in a direct line to adopt the stage as his profession.
Has the lad ever performed on the stage?
Our son made a successful appearance when he was but 4 years old with the great T.D. Rice.
The black-faced minstrel who sings Jump Jim Crow and Zip Coon? Well, I've heard tell of him up and down the whole length of the canal.
I can sing Zip Coon just the way Mr. Rice sings it. He taught me how.
Well, mind you, I ain't saying I'll take the lad's song in return for that $10, Mr. Jefferson. I'll have to hear it first.
Shall I sing now, Mother? Shall I dance, too?
Yes, sing and dance the first stanza, dear. We'll see if the captain enjoys it.
Mother, you play the guitar.
All right.
I was down at Sandy Holler t'other afternoon, and the first man I chanced to see was old Zip Coon. Old Zip Coon, he is an Addie scholar, for he plays on the banjo, Cooney in a holler. Piles him up a gum tree, Cooney on a stump. Piles him up a gum tree, Cooney on a stump. Piles him up a gum tree, Cooney on a stump. Did over double double, Zip Coon will jump. Shall I go on, Mother?
Yes, dear, go on.
Oh, it's old Sookie Blueskin, she is in love with me. I went there the afternoon and take a dish of tea. What do you think now, Sookie, have for supper? White chicken, foot, and pie from here without any butter.
That's enough, young fella. That's enough. I got to get back on deck.
Didn't you like the song, Captain?
I'm satisfied. Your passage money is paid, Mr. Jefferson.
You're a real sportsman, Captain. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain.
I'll see you folks on deck.
But Mother, he didn't clap once. He didn't even smile. I don't think he liked it.
Don't you worry about the applause, child. I'm proud of you.
You earn more in these few minutes than my whole company earned last night at Syracuse. $10 for one song, and you're only 9 years old. Just keep that record up, my boy. You'll be a credit to your mother and father, and to the American stage.
Joseph Jefferson followed the family tradition and became an actor. But despite his early practical training and inherent love for the theater, he had reached the age of 29 without having attained any more than the standing of a respectable member of a stock company. He was far from his goal of being a star. The year is 1858. We find young Jefferson and his wife on vacation in a Pennsylvania boarding house, whiling away a rainy afternoon reading and chatting.
Well, it's a bitter experience facing the fact that I'm a failure.
Failure? Oh, nonsense, Joseph. Just this rainy afternoon, depressing you. Tomorrow the sun will shine and you'll be making plans for next season.
Plans for another season in stock. Well, I suppose I should be grateful for it. It's a living. After all, I'm only a comedian.
But a great comedian, dear.
I wish the public thought so, Margaret. You know, I'm still obsessed with a desperate longing to find a great comedy role. A role in which tears will alternate with laughter. Someday, perhaps years hence, a great dramatist will create such a character. But I'm afraid I shan't be alive to play the role.
Oh, I'm so sorry. What did you say, dear?
It's just the same old dream, Margaret. You've heard it too often. I don't wonder you've returned to your book.
Oh, forgive me.
What are you reading?
The Life and Letters of Washington Irving. Oh, it's fascinating, Joseph. His descriptions are so perfect. What? Why, Joseph, here's your name. He mentions you.
No, it can't be. It's my father, doubtless.
Oh, no, it isn't, dear. Listen. He says, I saw the young Joe Jefferson at Laura Keene's theater as Goldfinch in The Road to Ruin.
What?
I thought his father one of the best actors I've ever seen, and the son reminds me of him in look, gesture, size, and makeup. I was delighted with young Jefferson's performance.
But Washington Irving mentions only distinguished people, successful men and women. Why?
Oh, but...
I feel practically immortal. To think that he actually mentioned a lowly stock company comedian like me.
It is thrilling, dear.
Margaret, Washington Irving sketchbook. Why haven't I thought of it before? It's an overpowering idea. Rip Van Winkle.
Rip Van Winkle, dear.
Why, it's the role I've been seeking. Don't you see, Margaret? It's the character I've dreamed of. With the proper dramatization, Rip Van Winkle can be one of the greatest characters of the American stage.
From that moment, Joseph Jefferson lived, breathed, and dreamed Rip Van Winkle. He discovered several mediocre dramatizations of Washington Irving's legend, and he labored day and night to improve them. In the fall of that same year, 1858, he persuaded the manager, Mr. John T. Raymond, to present his play Rip Van Winkle in Carusi's Hall in Washington, D.C. The curtain has fallen on that opening performance of Rip Van Winkle starring Joseph Jefferson. Backstage, Jefferson's fellow actors are gathered in small groups discussing the play.
I told Jefferson the play would ever be a success, but of course he wouldn't listen.
You know, there were times during rehearsals when he nearly convinced me that he was right and we were all wrong.
No.
But you can't fool the American public.
Why, certainly not. Scarcely any applause after the final curtain. The greatest failure I've seen in my 20 years in the theater.
Well, after all, what is Rip Van Winkle? A story of a good-for-nothing village loafer and drunkard. What a hero.
You know, I've almost begun to wonder if there isn't something wrong with Joe Jefferson. With his brain, I mean. Whenever he puts on that Rip Van Winkle costume, there's a queer look in his eye. He doesn't seem to be in this world at all.
Hush. Here comes the manager.
Yes, on his way to Jefferson's dressing room. I'd give half a week's pay to hear what he tells Jefferson about this performance. Good evening, Mr. Raymond.
Good evening. Mr. Jefferson still in his room?
We haven't seen him come out, sir.
And I asked him to wait for me.
Oh, I've been waiting for you, Mr. Raymond. Come in.
Yes. Well, Jefferson, there's no need of my telling you the play was a dismal failure.
No, there's no need. I'm sorry, Mr. Raymond.
Greatest failure I've ever seen in the theater. Here, you'd better close the door. Some of the cast is outside.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm sorry for your sake, Mr. Raymond, that the play wasn't a success.
Well, all I hope, Jefferson, is that this Rip Van Winkle failure has taught you a lesson.
What's that?
Go back to the roles you can play. Asa Trenchard and Our American Cousin, Bob Akers and the Rivals, Caleb Plummer. Those are the roles for you.
Mr. Raymond, I won't believe that Rip Van Winkle need be a failure.
What?
Well, you know, every man has a dream, a goal, which gives him hope. Well, my dream, my ambition, is to become as distinguished in the field of comedy as Edwin Forrest and Edwin Booth are in the field of tragedy.
You're deluding yourself, my poor Jefferson. A comedian will never be recognized as a great actor. The public accepts only tragedians as artists. A wise man knows his own limitations.
Well, permit me my dream, Mr. Raymond. I grant you that my dramatization of Rip Van Winkle was poor, but tonight's performance has proved to me that the character of Rip Van Winkle is all that I'd hoped. From this moment, I had but one goal, to find a playwright capable of creating a strong play for this great character.
It was 5 years before Joseph Jefferson's dream approached fulfillment. Failing in his attempts to interest playwrights in the story, he was obliged to accept a 4-year stock company engagement in Australia. Finally, upon his arrival in London from Australia, he persuaded the brilliant playwright Dean Boucicault to dramatize the appealing tale of the lovable, shiftless Dutchman of the Catskill Mountains. Now at last, in the year 1865, the critical moment in Joseph Jefferson's life is at hand. He is on the stage of the Adelphi Theater in London, preparing for the final rehearsal of the new play, Rip Van Winkle. Dean Boucicault, the author, has just entered the theater, and Jefferson greets him eagerly.
Oh, Boucicault, I feared you'd never attend a rehearsal. I'm so anxious for your opinion.
Well, I hope the play's a success for your sake, Jefferson.
Thank you.
But I'm sorry it's open in Webster's theater.
What? Well, is the gossip true, then, about your quarrel with Webster?
True. Certainly it's true. Webster's a pompous, strutting nincompoop. An ignoramus who buys a theater and considers himself an authority on acting, lighting, stage sets. The fool should never be permitted to manage a theater. He should be hawking fish to housewives.
Here, here. Rally round, my fellow thespians. The great Mr. Boucicault, the second Shakespeare, is delivering himself of an opinion.
That's enough from you, Bedford.
Now listen, Boucicault. Can't you and Webster declare a truce till after the opening night? We three must work together. Why, it's your play, his theater, and my first great role.
There'll be no truce, Mr. Jefferson. Glory, it's Mr. Webster himself. So I'm a strutting nincompoop, am I, Boucicault? An ignoramus, a clown.
You've known my opinion of you for some time, Webster.
Well, in the presence of these actors, I'll tell you my opinion of you and your plays. Your Rip Van Winkle will not open here Monday night, nor will my theater ever again harbor a play of yours.
Rip Van Winkle won't open?
If you think I'm dependent upon your patronage, Webster, you're mistaken. I'll be well pleased never to set foot within this so-called theater of yours again. Good day to you.
Boucicault, wait!
You're not called upon to interfere, Jefferson. The cast is dismissed.
What? Mr. Webster, you can't mean this. We've rehearsed for weeks. The play's been advertised throughout London.
I don't care if it's been advertised throughout the entire world. No vain, hot-tempered dramatist will call me a clown and ignoramus.
Mr. Webster, will you hear me, sir?
Nothing you say, Bedford, will change my mind.
You'll grant, Mr. Webster, that I'm one of the oldest and the most popular stars in the British Isles.
Yes, but what's that got to do with the situation?
Just this, sir. Mr. Jefferson, in a manner of speaking, came here to London to compete with me in my own field. My nose was a bit out of joint to be offered a secondary part in this play. But after Mr. Jefferson's very first reading, I lost all my resentment in honest admiration.
Mr. Jefferson's ability has nothing to do with the case. It's still Boucicault's play, and I refuse to produce it.
True, Mr. Webster, it's Boucicault's play. And that's the only reason Mr. Jefferson consented to open here in London, because Boucicault had a contract with you. Mr. Jefferson was anxious for the American people to hear Rip Van Winkle first. Neither Mr. Jefferson nor Mr. Boucicault will be the losers if you refuse to produce this play.
No. What do you mean, Bedford?
You and the people of London will be the losers. I beg you, let London have the triumph of first producing this great play. Or shall I say, permit Joseph Jefferson to score his greatest success in our country.
That's extravagant praise from a British actor for a Yankee.
It's the honest praise of one actor for the talents of a far superior artist.
That is the greatest compliment I've ever received, Bedford. I shall never forget your words.
Mr. Webster, Rip Van Winkle must open Monday night. Believe me, 100 years from now, 50, in 25 years, your quarrel with Boucicault will be forgotten. It's of no importance, if you'll pardon the liberty of an old actor. If your name survives, Mr. Webster, it will survive as the man who first presented the great American comedian, Joseph Jefferson, in his greatest role, Rip Van Winkle.
Joseph Jefferson in Rip Van Winkle did open at the Adelphi Theater in London on that Monday night, September 5th, 1865. The curtain rises on the fourth act. Rip Van Winkle has returned to his native village, Falling Waters, in the Catskill Mountains, after his strange sleep of 20 years. His hair and beard are long and white, bleached by the storms that have rolled over his head. The villagers, believing he's an idiot, taunt him. Even young Hendrik Vedder, who loves Rip's daughter, does not recognize the old man, but he attempts to befriend him.
Can I help you?
Just tell me where I live.
Why, what's your name?
Well, I don't know, but I believe I know what it used to be. My name, it used to be Rip Van Winkle.
Rip Van Winkle!
Rip Van Winkle.
Impossible.
Well, I wouldn't swear to it myself. I tell you how it was. Last night, I went away up into the mountain, and I met a strange kind of man, and we got drinking, and well, I guess I got pretty drunk, and when I woke up this morning, I was dead.
Poor fellow. He's crazy. Rip Van Winkle has been dead these 20 years.
He's crazy!
Send him away!
Are we so soon forgot when we are gone? No one remembers Rip Van Winkle.
And then Rip's wife, Gretchen, invites Rip to dine at her house, although she does not know him. And at Gretchen's house, Rip is in despair because his daughter, Meanie, does not know him either.
Why do you gaze so earnestly and fondly on me?
I'm afraid to tell you, my dear, because if you say it is not true, maybe it would break my heart. But, Meanie, either I dream or I am mad. But I am your father.
My father?
Yeah, but hear me, my dear, and then you will know. Now, this village here is the village of Falling Waters. Well, that was my home. I had here in this place my wife Gretchen and my child Meanie, little Meanie, and my dog Schneider. That's all the family what I got. Oh, try and remember me, dear, won't you? You see, this night there was a storm, and my wife drove me from my house, and I went away, and so I got back now, and my wife is gone, and my home is gone, and my child looks in my face and don't know who I am.
I do. Father.
Oh, my child. Somebody knows me now. Somebody knows me.
And at length, as this great American folk play ends,
Rip produces from his old game bag a document which proves that the scoundrel Derek has unlawfully seized his property. And at last, Gretchen knows her husband, Rip Van Winkle.
Oh, Rip, I drove you from your home, but do not desert me again. I will never speak one unkind word to you, and you shall never see a frown on my face. And Rip.
Yeah?
You may even stay out all night if you like.
No, thank you. I had enough of that.
Oh, and Rip, you can get tight as often as you please.
No, I don't touch another drop.
Oh, yes, you will, Father. But see, here are all the neighbors coming to welcome you home.
Well, bring in all the children, and the neighbors, and the dogs, and everyone.
Have a drink, Rip.
No, thank you. I swore off, you know. Well, I won't count this one. For this will go down with a prayer. I'll drink all your good health and your families, and may they all live long and prosper.
The character of Rip Van Winkle became Jefferson's whole existence. It was never necessary for him to play any other role. Jefferson was the first American actor to dignify the art of comedy in this country. Through his superb artistry and through his persistent efforts to raise the social and intellectual standing of the actor, Joseph Jefferson helped gain undying prestige for the American stage. And he has accorded the American actor an honored place in the Cavalcade of America.
When you attend the theater or a movie, it's the actors on the stage or on the screen who hold your attention. Without them, there would be no show. But they'd be the first to tell you that without the people behind the scenes, directors, writers, cameramen, musicians, electricians, scenery experts, stagehands, and countless others, there would be no play or movie. And strange as it may seem, among those backstage people are the research chemists. You can see evidence of their work on every hand. For example, the amber, blue, red, and other lights which bathe the stage in warm colors are projected through sheets of gelatin, products of chemistry. The colors in costumes and curtains and background drops owe their brilliance to dyes developed by the chemists. Many a costume itself is fashioned of fabrics made possible by that beautiful man-made yarn, rayon. Even the makeup used by actors and actresses on stage and screen was born in the chemist's laboratory. Speaking of the movies, it was the chemists who developed the modern motion picture film, now in universal use. While in many a picture palace and regular theater, the seats themselves are covered with handsome coated fabric. And of course, you've noticed how colorful and gay modern theaters are. Much of this beauty comes from long-lasting finishes, also products of the chemist's skill. Many other examples of the chemist's contributions are to be found in the entertainment world. But these suffice to show that research chemistry is doing its share to help us enjoy our lighter moments, too. Just as chemistry's contributions to commerce and industry in the home are helping to make our lives more productive, happier, more comfortable. Though you seldom see him or hear very much about him, the research chemist is constantly at work backstage, so to speak. If you'll simply look about you at home, at work, or wherever you are, you will see products which he has created or improved. And his goal, aptly expressed in the DuPont Pledge, is to continue to provide better things for better living through chemistry. John W. Hyatt, the father of plastics, will be the subject of our broadcast when next week at the same time, DuPont again presents the Cavalcade of America. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
You are listening to Golden Age Radio, rumble.com/C/GAR, brought to you by G3PL.com.
Hollywood, California, the Lux Radio Theater presents Errol Flynn and Olivia de Havilland in Green Light with C. Aubrey Smith.
Lux presents Hollywood. For the interest you have taken in our products, Lux Toilet Soap and Lux Flakes, for your purchases, and for your recommendations to your friends, we send you our sincere appreciation. It is this kind of loyalty that makes the Lux Radio Theater possible. Tonight, we bring you Olivia de Havilland and Errol Flynn in Green Light with C. Aubrey Smith. Our guests, Alton Cook, radio editor of the New York World Telegram, and Dinty Doyle, radio editor of the New York Journal American and columnist for the Hearst papers. Lois Silvers conducts our orchestra. And now, the producer of the Lux Radio Theater. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cecil B. DeMille.
Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Lloyd C. Douglas, author of the exciting, fast-moving novel Green Light, from which tonight's play is adapted, has something in common with those giants of literature, Jonathan Swift, author of Gulliver's Travels, Lewis Carroll, author of Alice in Wonderland, and Ralph Waldo Emerson, the poet-philosopher. For like them, Dr. Douglas is a minister who turned author. And again, like them, his writings have a vividly human and appealing quality. From Dr. Douglas last week, I learned how he happened to write Green Light. While on a lecture tour, he addressed audiences harassed by fears and worries. I tried, said he, to sound a philosophy, good for all types of people who allow comparatively small matters to accumulate and become an almost insurmountable mental barrier. Encouraged by the reactions to his lectures, Dr. Douglas believed the rest of the world might also find some good in his principles. The result was the book Green Light, which sold nearly 250,000 copies. From it, Warner Brothers made a great motion picture, whose star, Errol Flynn, repeats for you tonight the role of Dr. Newell Page. And co-starred is Miss Olivia de Havilland, of the same studios, playing the part of Frances Ogilvy. 2 weeks ago, Olivia and Errol completed their new film, The Adventures of Robin Hood, and promptly departed for a well-earned rest, Olivia to Palm Springs and Errol to New York, from which points they both returned to Hollywood a few days ago to be with us now. C. Aubrey Smith, renowned character actor and beloved veteran of countless hits on stage and screen, most recent among them being The Hurricane, is heard as Dean Harcourt. Polly Ann Young, sister of Loretta Young, plays Phyllis Dexter, and Frank Nelson, Dr. John Stafford. And now it's curtain time. The Lux Radio Theater presents Olivia de Havilland and Errol Flynn in Green Light with C. Aubrey Smith. Bay Park Hospital, on the outskirts of Boston. In his private office, Newell Page, a rising young surgeon, stands near the window examining an X-ray plate. By his side is Nurse Frances Ogilvy. She leans close to the surgeon, pretending a great interest in the photograph, while he pretends to be unaware of her nearness.
See that spot?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's it. I don't like the way it... Ogilvy, I wish you wouldn't do that.
What?
Lean so close to me.
Why not?
Because it prevents me from concentrating. You're very beautiful, you know.
Yes?
And in addition, you're intelligent and probably the best chief surgical nurse the Bay Park has ever had.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, Miss Ogilvy.
I hate Ogilvy. Why don't you call me Frances?
Frances, eh? That's a nice name. Now, about this X-ray.
Do you ever think of anything but your work, Dr. Page?
Oh, yes, occasionally. Have you met Sylvia, my cocker spaniel? She's the cutest little
Do you ever
cricket...
think of anything but your dog and work, Dr. Page?
Never, Miss Ogilvy.
Yes, that's what I thought. You know, there was only one time I ever heard you say anything that I felt you really meant.
Something unpleasant, probably.
It was the day we did the little Morton boy's operation. It was a tough job. You were worried. You seemed to think I kept up with you pretty well, and when it was over, you said, Ogilvy, you're a good egg.
Egg, eh?
I know it sounds awfully silly, but
It meant a great deal to me.
Well, I'm glad. You have a great talent for surgery, you know. And by the way, how's Mrs. Dexter this morning?
She's as sunshiny as ever. She's been listening to that minister on the radio again. What's his name?
Oh, yes, Harcourt, isn't it?
That's it, Dean Harcourt.
Say, she goes into surgery in less than an hour. Have you got...
Oh.
What?
I'm awfully sorry, but I forgot to tell you. Mrs. Dexter's operation has been put off.
Why?
Dr. Endicott's been delayed. He just telephoned.
From where?
Milwaukee. He can't get here until tomorrow.
But that's dangerous. I'm not certain she can wait until... Has she been told?
Not yet.
Oh, well, I suppose that's up to me. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Dr. Booth. Dr. Booth. Calling Dr. Booth.
Hey, Newell. Newell, wait up.
Hello, John.
Oh, what's the big rush?
Oh, Endicott's delayed that Dexter operation until tomorrow.
Why?
He can't make it. He's delayed or something in Milwaukee.
By what? A lecture to some club or a stockbroker?
You stick to your bugs, John. That's your business, and Endicott's his.
Thanks for telling me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's have dinner tonight.
I can't. I've a date with some little bugs from Montana. Real old-fashioned killers from way back.
That's interesting. What's the name?
Dermacenter Andersoni. Wood ticks to you.
You messing around with spotted fever again?
Not again. Still, I may go out to Montana one of these days. Hope you enjoy my funeral.
Thanks, I will.
And striving constantly for the higher and the better life.
Morning, Mrs. Dexter.
But man's progress in life is not steadily onward.
Dean Harcourt again?
Not steadily
Yes,
forward.
again.
Sometimes man's progress is stopped by something that is bigger and stronger than he. Something over which he has no control. And that's something I like to think of as a red light, flashing a halt to the forward surge of his life. And I like to believe there is a power which controls that light, which knows in its infinite wisdom that sometimes man must stop to learn through suffering before going on. For it is as inevitable as time that man progresses to a better future. If not for himself, then through his suffering for his fellow men. When he has learned this, the signal changes, and the green light frees him to resume his inexorable march into eternity.
You have been listening to Dean Harcourt talking to you from...
What would religion be without music?
There was religion long before there was music, Dr. Page.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Dexter. Well, I'd say your pulse shows marvelous repose for a patient facing surgery.
You can thank Dean Harcourt for that.
I'm thankful for anything that gives a patient courage and confidence.
A shorter word for courage and confidence is faith.
Well, whatever it is, you'll need every bit of it now.
More bad news?
Well, you see,
You're trying to tell me my operation has been postponed again.
Yes. Dr. Endicott's been unavoidably detained in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. A beautiful city, full of music. Years ago, we used to go there to hear the community singing.
You make it work, don't you?
No, I simply let it work.
Well, you're an amazing patient, Mrs. Dexter. Things would be pretty simple if we all had your faith.
Evening, Dr. Page.
Oh, hello, officer.
Out for a walk, sir? Nice evening for it. Fog coming across the bay, though. Oh, hello there, Sylvia. Hello. Evening, sir.
Good evening. Oh, dear. What's it all about, Sylvia? What are we all doing here? Where are we going? Oh, no. Not home. I'm talking about life. If you could only talk, Sylvia. But I'm glad you can't. There's altogether too much talk anyway. Oh, good evening. I didn't see you sitting there.
I hope you don't think I was eavesdropping.
Rather silly business talking to a dog.
You haven't anyone else to talk to, have you? Sit down over here. I imagine we came to this spot for the same purpose. To look off across the water into eternity.
Well, I don't think I'm much concerned with eternity. My job's with the present. After all, the patient will feel just as much pain today, even though he thinks that tomorrow he may be sitting on the edge of a cloud strumming a harp.
And you're concerned with curing today's pain so the patient won't join the heavenly host.
Right.
Naturally. As a physician, you believe that.
How do you know I'm a physician?
You just told me. As a matter of fact, we're almost in the same business. If I'm more concerned with eternity, it's because my job is with the soul rather than the body.
Oh, I see. Preacher?
I much prefer to be known as a teacher. There's so much we can do to help people.
It's 7 o'clock in Harcourt.
Oh, thank you, Alan. You can take me to the car, please.
Yes, sir.
Harcourt, then you're...
Yes?
Well, you do help people, sir. I happen to know that.
Thank you.
Shall I help you up, sir?
No, I can manage by myself. You didn't know I was a cripple.
I had no idea.
I try not to let it interfere. Good night.
Good night, sir.
Baypark Hospital. One moment, please. Baypark Hospital. Baypark Hospital. Hold the wire a moment.
Hello? Hello, switchboard. This is Dr. Booth speaking. Is there any word from Dr. Endicott this morning? I see. Well, keep trying, please. I'm in Dr. Page's office. Nothing yet, Page?
Well, I guess that means we'll have to postpone the operation again.
We can't. Take a look at that X-ray.
Looks bad.
Miss Ogilvy, get Mrs. Dexter ready. We'll operate immediately.
Yes, sir.
Are you crazy?
Not unless these X-rays are. Hello? Hello, surgery, please.
I grant you that the infection has spread alarmingly since yesterday. Nevertheless...
Surgery, this is Dr. Page.
Oh, you can't do that, Page. She's Endicott's patient.
We'll operate on Mrs. Dexter immediately.
Now listen, Page, if anything happens...
Nothing's going to happen. Scrub up, Dr. Lane. You're handling it.
Your gown, Dr. Page.
Gloves, please. Everything set?
Set.
Ready, Mrs. Dexter?
Yes.
You're a most unusual patient. Ether, Doctor. Scalpel.
Scalpel.
Sponge ready.
Sponge ready.
Faster, Ogilvy, faster. Keep them coming. Clamp.
Clamp.
Sponge.
Sponge.
Respiration normal.
Pulse steady. Still normal. A little more ether.
Much longer, Doctor?
10 minutes, maybe less. Clamp, please.
Clamp.
Who opened that door?
It's Dr. Endicott.
Excuse me, Page. Step aside, please. We're almost finished, Endicott.
I said step aside, Page. I was just about to remove the...
Thank you. I know this case.
Very well, Doctor.
Forceps?
Forceps.
Stand by to assist. Pulse varying. Unsteady now.
More ether?
I don't think so. Endicott? Through in 20 minutes. 20. Scalpel, please.
Scalpel, but...
Quickly.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Endicott, it's not time now.
I know what I'm doing. Stand by to tie the artery. Pulse slowing. 42. You'll have to work fast. Tie the artery, Doctor. Well, tie it. Tie it.
I can't.
What?
You've cut it too short. I can't make the tie. It's a hemorrhage. Quick. Oxygen.
Sponge. Give me a sponge. Pack that artery.
You can't. Clamp.
Clamp.
Wait. I'm afraid it's too late, Doctor. What? She's dead. Dead?
Dr. Page, wait, please.
What is it, Ogilvy?
She shouldn't have died. You were doing perfect work if Endicott had kept out of it.
Oh, I'd rather not talk about it. Ogilvy, Mrs. Dexter has a daughter, Phyllis, I think. She's traveling in England. You'll see that she's notified, will you? Pretty tough on her, isn't it?
Yes, thanks to Endicott. I know exactly what happened, and I'm going to tell what I know.
Don't you think it's Endicott's privilege to make his own statement first? Well?
You're right.
That's a good egg, Ogilvy.
Yes? Oh, evening, Page.
Evening, Endicott.
I'm glad you came.
Nasty business, this Dexter death. She was too well known. People loved her too much.
What's that got to do with it?
I'm simply trying to tell you that Mrs. Dexter gave most of her fortune to this hospital. That's why there's so much feeling about her death.
I didn't know.
No one knew, except the board of directors. I've been trying to convince them it was an unavoidable accident. One of those things that sometimes happen. It was unavoidable, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. For some reason, you cut the pedicle too short for safety. It should never have happened.
You're right. You're right. My place was with my patient, not in a broker's office watching my life savings being swept away. Interesting how greed and medicine don't mix.
I have a little money if it...
Not enough. But you have youth. Your whole life is still ahead of you. I'm old. My life's all behind me. Even the money I've saved is gone.
You can always earn more.
Not if I'm dismissed for this Dexter case. A split second, a woman dies, and a whole career dies with her. A split second, as against the 40 years I've given to medicine.
And as chairman of the board, Dr. Page, I regret to inform you that we hold you responsible for Mrs. Dexter's death. May I add that your refusal to defend yourself has not benefited your position. Rather than submit you to the embarrassment of a dismissal, we're giving you this opportunity to resign.
Is that all?
That's all.
Thank you.
Oh, good evening, Miss Ogilvy.
Where's Dr. Page, Mrs. Howell?
He's still in his room. I've been trying to make him eat something.
Excuse me. Dr. Page, Newell.
Huh? Oh. Hello, Francis. What's the time?
You've been drinking.
Have I?
Listen to me. You're going to pull yourself together. Go down to that hospital and tell Endicott and the board where to head in. You're not going to let them make you the goat.
You know, Francis, you're a very beautiful girl.
Oh, stop it, please.
All right. What is it you want me to tell the board, Francis? That Endicott killed a woman? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? He's a human being, just as liable to make mistakes as anyone.
That's no concern of yours. If you resign, you admit you were responsible for her death.
Uh-huh, exactly.
Why, you sound as if you were going to resign.
I have, already.
You're a fool.
Thank you.
A sentimental fool. I suppose you think you're being noble.
I've been trying not to think at all. I don't see why you should.
Because I hate to see a man throw his life away for nothing. That's what you're doing. You're giving up your whole career for a man who's outlived his usefulness. Well, you won't if I can help it. I'll see the board myself and I'll tell them the truth. I don't care if they fire me tonight.
Sure, go ahead. And now who's being noble?
I ought to slap you for that. But I won't. You're all mixed up with whiskey and heroics. You don't know what you're talking about. Good night.
Whiskey and heroics. A split second. A woman dies, and a whole career dies with her.
So ends Act One of Green Light. In just a few moments, our stars, Errol Flynn and Olivia de Havilland, will return in Act Two of our play. But during our intermission, we raise a question. Is truth stranger than fiction? We think that often it is more exciting than fiction, and to prove this, we're going to present to you a regular Cinderella story which actually happened. The heroine of this real-life story, the modern Cinderella, is Miss Anne McDermott of 229 Chicago Avenue, Oak Park, Illinois. She keeps house for her aunt and uncle. Her exciting experience started when her friend Marjorie dashed into the house early one morning.
Gracious, Marjorie, what are you doing here this time of the morning?
Oh, Anne, I had to tell you right away.
Tell me what?
Why, down at the store, they're having a beautiful hands contest, and you must enter.
Me? Oh, you're crazy.
I'm not. Your hands are lovely.
Oh, nonsense. All the young girls in town will enter. I'm 37, and I've done housework for years. I wash dishes 3 times a day, too.
But your hands don't show it, Ann, and... Oh, please do. It's this afternoon. Come on, just as a favor to me.
Well, all right. But just as a favor to you, mind.
And so Miss McDermott goes with her friend to the Beautiful Hands contest. There are many women in the contest, most of them young. We listen in as they wait to hear the award.
Oh, I just know you'll win, Ann.
Oh, nonsense. I think we'd better go home.
And now we're ready to announce the prize winners. Miss Ann McDermott of 229 Chicago Avenue.
It's you, Ann. It's you.
Miss McDermott, please come forward.
I can't believe it. There's some mistake.
Miss McDermott, congratulations. Miss McDermott, ladies and gentlemen, keeps house. She's done all her own work for many years, and yet her hands are lovelier than those of many young girls. I'm happy to give her this prize.
Yes, this actually happened. Here are Miss McDermott's own words.
Lux was the reason I won the biggest thrill of my life and a grand prize. I do dishes 3 times a day, but Lux Flakes keep my hands beautiful.
Thank you, Miss McDermott, for this convincing proof of how Lux Flakes for washing dishes keeps hands soft and white. Lux for dishes is such inexpensive beauty care, every woman should guard the loveliness of her hands this way. Get the economical big box of Lux tomorrow. I return you now to Mr. DeMille.
Errol Flynn, Olivia de Havilland, and C. Aubrey Smith continue in Green Light. A few days have passed, and Francis Ogilvy still has not told the true facts of Mrs. Dexter's death. In despair, she turns for advice to the dead woman's friend, Dean Harcourt. In the minister's study, she tells her story. The crippled old man listens quietly.
And when I tried to make him tell that to the board, he refused. I could save him. I could save his career. But for some reason, he doesn't want it saved.
Miss Ogilvy, no man makes sacrifices without reason. Whatever that reason may be, it is in itself compensation for his suffering. And whether you agree with that reason or not, you've no right to destroy it by exposing the sacrifice.
I don't believe in sacrifices, Dean Harcourt. I don't believe in eventual justice. I believe that one gets what one fights for, and that only the fittest survive.
Yes. And yet, you'd give up anything, everything, for him. You have a remarkable talent for love.
He said I had a remarkable talent for surgery.
I know, it's complex. But sometimes a viewpoint simplifies things. I like to think of civilization as a great parade, made up of all those who have lived, all those who are alive, and all those who will live. Many stumble, fall by the wayside. Many are lost. But whatever the individual problems, the individual destinies, the great parade of civilization must continue to march on to its own and much greater destiny.
Maybe. But I've got my own little parade to push over some pretty rough roads. And I don't hear any bands playing either.
I don't ask you to believe, my dear. I can only tell you that we, as individuals, are less important than our contributions. And we don't always know what form those contributions take.
And in this case, my contribution may be silence?
Yes.
Well, I've taken a lot of your time. Is there something I can do to repay you?
Yes. I want you to go into the anteroom. There'll be somebody there to see me. Ask her whatever questions you wish, then come back and tell me what she says.
Very well, Dean Harcourt. Good morning. Is Dean Harcourt in his study? Yes, he is. What is your name, please? Just tell him it's Phyllis Dexter. Phyllis, one moment, please. Dean Harcourt.
Yes?
Mrs. Dexter's daughter is waiting to see you.
Phyllis, poor child. Will you do one more thing for me?
If I can.
That other door will lead you into the nave of the cathedral. Go there. Sit down. Face the altar. Think about what we've said to each other.
Very well.
Phyllis? Come in, my dear.
Oh, Dean Harcourt,
My dear, those tears aren't at all becoming.
No, I know. But I can't seem to stop. Mother was everything to me.
She still is everything. Don't you remember how unafraid she was?
Yes. And what happened to her? I went to the hospital this morning right after the boat landed. I asked to see Dr. Page.
Page?
Endicott's assistant. He started the operation before Dr. Endicott arrived.
Did you see him?
No. They told me he resigned. Oh, they tried to hide it from me, but they couldn't. It was too plain. Dr. Page killed my mother carelessly, viciously.
Phyllis, go into the cathedral. Look up into his face on the cross. Think of him and of what hate did to him and what it is still doing to the world. Go now, while the hate is still in your soul.
Miss Dexter, please don't. For my mother.
I know. I know all about it, my dear. Come with me, please. We both have troubles. Perhaps we can comfort each other.
Yes?
Hello, Oh, excuse me. I thought this was Miss Ogilvy's apartment.
It is. Come in, please.
Well, thank you, but...
Oh, I'm a friend of hers. Well, that is. Well, we only met this morning. She brought me here to tea.
Oh.
Who shall I say is calling?
Why, I'm,
Hello.
Oh, hello, Francis. Sorry if I'm intruding. I should have telephoned.
No, it's all right. May I take your coat?
Well,
Oh, please. Don't go on my account.
Well, thanks. Pardon me for staring, but your face seems familiar.
This is Phyllis Dexter.
Dexter?
She's the daughter of the Mrs. Dexter I was telling you about. Just arrived from England. Phyllis, may I introduce Mr. Walker? How do you do? If you're as nice as Miss Ogilvy, you'll be well worth knowing.
I hope you'll always think that.
Oh, I think I hear the kettle boiling. Sit down, Mr. Walker.
Thanks. So you met Francis just today, eh?
Yes, at Dean Harcourt's. What made you think you knew me?
Why, you resemble a photograph I often admired, the daughter of a friend of mine. The daughter must be very beautiful.
Oh, I feel flattered.
I think she'd feel flattered, too.
Thank you.
You just came from England, Francis said.
Yes, my mother died. It was very sudden.
I'm sorry. I lost my mother, too, a long time ago. I know how it is. You must try not to let it hurt you too much. Death is, well, it's a part of living, I guess. A split second, a woman dies.
So many things can happen in a split second.
Yes, and sometimes they seem to happen with deliberate cruelty.
What?
You'll excuse me, won't you? I haven't time for tea. Please tell Miss Ogilvy I had to go.
What was that? Did he go? Yes. What a strange man. He's one of the finest. He seems to be. Do you think he'll call again soon?
I don't know. There's no telling what Mr. Walker will do. Ever.
Come in, Doctor. I'm very glad to see you. Our first meeting was rather brief.
I came here to argue with you, Dean Harcourt.
Really? Sit down.
I came to argue with you about your concept of everlasting life. I want to know how you can reconcile needless death, greed, the destruction of a career with your irresistible onward drive.
Why?
I'm the Dr. Page who operated on Mrs. Dexter.
Page. I see. You have a fine religion, Dr. Page.
I haven't any, as far as I know.
Oh, religion has many definitions, at least in my dictionary, such as loyalty, devotion, honor.
Perhaps. Well, my dictionary defines it as a kind of opiate, used by people with hurt sensibilities to dull them into drowsiness.
Would you say that of Mrs. Dexter?
No, I guess not. But what of her daughter? Can she be like her mother?
She will be, eventually. And so will you.
But will it really matter, then? One has to wait too long. You've got to give up too much for moral victories.
How do you know? There's hardly a man who hasn't been stopped by circumstances. I had ambitions, too. And then I became as I am. I felt death would be better than wasting my life as an impotent cripple. I even sought death. Then, suddenly, I discovered my course was upward. In spite of everything, I got the signal to go forward. At times, I'm still delayed, no telling how long, but eventually I get the green light. And I know that once again, I commence that irresistible onward drive. Who is it? Oh, Phyllis.
Dean Harcourt, I hope... Oh, why, Mr. Walker.
Walker?
I hoped we'd meet again.
I thank you. Yeah, Dean Harcourt, Miss Dexter and I, we've met, you see, and...
Yes, I see, Mr. Walker. I'm glad you've met. I think you two should know each other.
Well, if you'll excuse me...
Oh, wait, Goodness, it's lunchtime, isn't it?
Is it?
You must be frightfully hungry, Phyllis.
Not particularly.
I'm sorry I can't offer you lunch. You eat, don't you, Mr. Walker?
Eat? Oh, usually, yes. Miss Dexter, will you have lunch with me?
Oh, I'd like to, very much.
Good. You two run along now. I've got to make a telephone call. And, by the way, if you've no other plans, have dinner with me tonight. Both of you.
Yes, of
Thank
course.
you. Goodbye, sir.
Hello? Hello, Miss Ogilvy? This is Dean Harcourt speaking, Miss Ogilvy. Could you have dinner with me tonight? Splendid. At 8. Goodbye.
Oh, I don't know when I've had a nicer day, Mr. Walker.
Really? Well, that goes for me, too.
Dean Harcourt's a remarkable man, isn't he?
Yes. Well, you seem to think we ought to be together. Tell me, was he in the church before he got this attack of poliomyelitis?
Polio what?
I mean, infantile paralysis. You know, I've been around doctors so long I almost talk like one. Anyhow, was the dean always in the church?
Yes, why?
Oh, I don't know, unless it's because I've always had the idea that people turn to religion only when they're in trouble.
Well, you would never have had that idea had you known my mother.
Ah, but your mother was unusual.
You did know her?
No. But I've heard a great deal about her. Here, Sylvia. Sit down back there. Yeah, she always barks at cows. Stop it.
Sylvia. Sylvia. I remember another dog called Sylvia. Mother wrote me about it. She said that Dr. Page had a...
Phyllis.
Oh, you're Dr. Page, you?
Yes.
Oh.
Wait, Phyllis, listen to me. You had to know sometime...
And you killed my mother?
No.
Then who did?
It was an accident.
Accident? Oh, you might at least be man enough to accept the blame. Let me out, please.
Phyllis, you've got to listen to me. Phyllis!
Well, if he doesn't come soon, I'm afraid we'll have to eat without him. Phyllis, have you any idea why he's so late?
No, Dean Harcourt.
Who is it we're waiting for?
A friend of yours, Mr. Walker.
Walker? Not...
Yes, he came to see me this morning, and Phyllis happened to meet him. Did you have a nice luncheon?
Phyllis, what happened? You lied to me, didn't you? Why didn't you tell me who he was?
I see.
Well, why didn't you?
Because I saw no reason to upset you. I wanted to make it easier for you. And for him, too. I'd do anything I could to make things easier for him.
Oh, why should he have things made easier for him? Why he of all people?
Because he's clean and decent and good. Because he's the finest man I've ever met in all my life. You think you have reason to hate him, don't you? Well, I tell you, you haven't.
Phyllis, your mother...
Oh, don't say it, please. I'm sick of philosophies, sermons, parables. I'm a human being. I have the right to hate or love. I was born with it. I feel it. It wasn't taught me.
You love him. You love him, don't you?
Oh, what does that matter now? He killed my mother. I gave him his chance to explain.
And did he blame someone else?
No, how could he?
That's right, how could he? He's too honest. Too honest to break the rules he plays by.
What do you mean?
Tell her, Francis.
No. I'll play according to Page's rules, too. He didn't have to listen to sermons to become good. He was born that way. And he'll always be that way, no matter what happens to him.
Well, I don't understand.
You will, eventually. You see, my dear, until you have that faith, you don't really love. Francis?
Yes.
I've learned a great deal from you today. Thank you. Where are you going, Phyllis?
I'm going to him. Do you know where he lives? I'll find out. Wait for me outside. I'll take you to him.
Francis, you do that? Bring them together, knowing that she loves him?
He loves her, too.
Did he say that?
No one has to say it. It's in a woman's eyes when she's loved. I know. Well, good night, Dean Harcourt.
Good night, Francis.
Hello.
Oh, good evening, Miss Ogilvy.
We'd like to see Dr. Page, please.
Why, he's not here, miss.
Not here? Where did he go?
I don't know. He didn't say. He left early tonight, and I'm to close the apartment myself.
I see. Thank you, Mrs. Howell. It's gone. Yes. Well, he's joined the parade anyway.
For station identification, this is the Columbia Broadcasting System. We return shortly to Olivia de Havilland, Errol Flynn, C. Aubrey Smith, and to the third act of Green Light. But now, during our short intermission, we want to devote the next few moments to an event unique in the history of the Lux Radio Theater. We bring you two of the country's outstanding radio critics, Mr. Alton Cook of the New York World Telegram, who will speak to us from New York City, and Mr. Dinty Doyle, radio editor of the New York Journal American, who is here on our Hollywood stage. Both gentlemen have just concluded the tabulating of national polls conducted to determine the outstanding radio programs of the past year. Mr. Doyle's poll represents the opinion of all the radio editors of Hearst newspapers. The World Telegram poll reveals the opinions of 211 radio editors. And the two polls represent newspapers whose combined circulation is over 36 million. Thus you see the tremendous coverage represented by these two critics. Together, their checkups blanket the country. Criticism is a stimulant to the arts, to entertainment, and to all who strive to create, whether their endeavor is music or literature, motion pictures, painting, public affairs, or radio. And certainly the interest of radio editors has helped broadcasting to come of age as a recognized medium of culture. Through our two guests, separated by 3,000 miles, the Lux Radio Theater extends its gratitude to the hundreds of newspapers and radio editors all over the United States and Canada who are making radio criticism of equal importance to that of the stage and screen. And now from New York City, Mr. Alton Cook of the New York World Telegram.
Thank you, Mr. DeMille. But tonight I'd rather pay my tribute to your program instead of to radio criticism. This is the fourth year your radio theater has led all the dramatic programs in the annual World Telegram poll. For a program in its fourth year, that's not at all bad. People have been having a lot of fun in theaters for a long time. They're having more now than ever before, thanks to your radio theater, which gets into corners of the world the theater used to have trouble finding. This past month, your program has brought one of the stage's great characterizations, George Arliss and Disraeli. This same month, the program included the amusing and audacious idea of making an actor out of good old Bob Burns and casting him in a Booth Tarkington play. A theater as lively as that is a good addition to our equipment for enjoying life. Your radio theater richly deserves the tributes voted to it by 211 American and Canadian radio editors in the World Telegram poll. My congratulations, Mr. DeMille, to you and to your sponsors.
And for them, as well as myself, Mr. Cook, our sincere thanks. 2 weeks ago, Mr. Dinty Doyle sat with my good friend Major Bowes and myself
when we spoke to the Lux Radio Theater audience from New York. Tonight he's here in Hollywood. Only this time he's doing the talking. Mr. Dinty Doyle.
You said, Mr. DeMille, that this is a unique event at the Lux Radio Theater. Well, it's just as unique for Alton, Cook, and me, because for once we're in complete accord. The poll which I was privileged to conduct voices the attitude of the radio editors of Mr. Hearst's newspapers, who also award to this program first place among all dramatic shows heard on the air in 1937. There's a familiar phrase to be found in front of most railroad crossings which seems to cover my activities tonight. I've stopped, and I've looked, and I've listened, and I find the experience well worth the 3,000-mile flight I made to be here. I'm sure that many are perhaps a little curious as to the scene from which this program emanates. Let me describe it to you very briefly. Picture a large stage, such as you might find on Broadway, any Broadway, and in the center front of the stage is the microphone for the capable performers who are bringing you green light. In command of the operations, at stage right, is Mr. DeMille, speaking to you over another microphone. Across the middle of the stage is hung a curtain, hiding from view all the musicians except the conductor, Louis Silvers. It's not because we don't like to look at musicians, but simply because the curtain makes their music better over the air. In a balcony, above and behind Mr. DeMille, are the sound effects, and across the stage in another balcony is Columbia's engineer and the broadcasting apparatus that starts this program on its way to your living room. I hope I haven't shattered any illusions, other than the one that Mrs. Doyle may have entertained in believing her husband is a radio performer as well as a radio editor. Good luck, Mr. DeMille. I hope you try just as hard to get this award in 1938 as you did in the past year. After all, awards such as this are not given. They're won.
Thank you, Dinty Doyle. Thank you. Green Light, starring Errol Flynn and Olivia de Havilland with C. Aubrey Smith. 2 months have gone by, and nothing has been heard of Newell Page. At last, word comes from Dr. Stafford. Word from the fever-ridden hills of Montana, where death lurks in the sting of an insect, bearing the innocent name Woodtick. As Dean Harcourt and Phyllis listen, Frances reads the letter aloud.
You know, Frances, that research requires unbreakable nerves, endless patience. Newell is too sensitive for it. The fever's been raging round here for weeks, and the things he's seen have gotten under his skin. He's working with me now on a new vaccine, and he's doing great work, but too much of it. I can't get him to rest. Do you know of any way to get him out of here for a while? Maybe there is something in his private life you know of that can be used. Well, Phyllis?
I'll take the next train.
My dear.
Will you be coming too, Frances?
I? No. No, you'd better go alone.
How's it going, John? Any results?
Oh, just about the same. Where were you last night, Noel? You look all in.
Oh, I went through the valley on some calls.
Well?
8 more deaths.
8. Oh, God, it's horrible.
A little wood tick bites a man. 3 days later, he's dead. If we only knew about that new vaccine.
Oh, if. How are we going to know? All we know now is that it doesn't kill the guinea pigs. We still don't know if it makes them immune to fever. And if it does, what proof is it that it'll work on a human being? It's like shooting in the dark.
John, suppose a man took a shot of that stuff, the new vaccine.
A man?
Yeah. And then suppose he let a wood tick bite him. That'd prove something, wouldn't it?
If he died, it wouldn't.
But if he lived?
Well, then we'd know that the vaccine works. Unfortunately, we can't make that little experiment. Human beings aren't guinea pigs.
Well, here's one who is.
What?
I did it last night.
Did what?
Gave myself the vaccine, 2cc. Then I let a wood tick have a bite at my arm.
Are you crazy?
I haven't your patience, John. We'll know all about that vaccine now, anyhow.
Another man tried that up here. He lasted about 3 days. You're a fool, man. What do you think we have animals for?
Oh, they don't need to justify their lives, John. I do. Answer that, will you?
Hello. Yes. Who? Just a moment. It's for you, Newell.
Me? Hello? Yes. Yes, this is Page. Who's this? Phyllis. Where are you? Oh, yes, of course. Yes, I'll be right down. It's Phyllis Dexter. She's at the station. I'll saddle the bag.
Newell, wait. I wish you'd take it easy. The more you exert yourself, the harder it's going to be to beat off the fever if it hits you.
Yes, I know. John, listen. Something may happen that'll make me lose my nerve. If I do, you've got to promise me that you'll keep yours. If I get the fever, the vaccine alone has got to lick it. Then we'll know. No other treatments. Promise?
No other treatments, Newell.
Good boy. I won't be long.
Take it easy, will you?
Phyllis.
Newell.
Oh, darling, I never thought I'd see you again.
It had to happen. There wasn't any other way.
I killed your mother, Phyllis.
You didn't. She would have been the first to forgive you.
As you forgive me?
As I hope you'll forgive me. But I had to learn not to hate.
Darling. Phyllis, you've got to leave here right away.
Why?
Because there's death on every bush, hiding in every flower. I don't want it to find you.
Well, I'm going to stay.
Phyllis, please. You must understand. There's no way of protecting you yet. Maybe in a couple of months. You never know. Sometimes it takes days. Sometimes it hits suddenly. But we'll lick it. We've got to lick it. There mustn't be any more waste.
Oh, no, what's the matter?
Nothing. Sorry, I'm...
Oh,
Straight telegram to Miss Frances Ogilvy, 415 West 78th Street, New York City. Newell desperately ill. Spotted fever testing new vaccine. Will take no treatment. Please come at once. Signed, Phyllis.
But I tell you, Miss Ogilvy, Dr. Endicott has retired for the night.
Then I'm afraid I'll have to drag him out of retirement. Where is he?
Good evening.
Good evening, Dr. Endicott.
I said I had retired.
And I said I was going to bring you out of retirement. I might have added, or force you permanently into it.
Well, what do you mean?
Have you ever wondered what's become of Newell Page?
I've never stopped wondering.
But you did nothing about it, did you? He's with John Stafford in Montana.
On Boone Mountain?
Yes.
I won't have him in that pest hole. He'll die like the rest of them.
He may be dying now. He's down with spotted fever. He gave it to himself to test a vaccine. He won't accept treatment. If he dies, it's your fault. Yours, do you understand?
He won't die. He can't die. I'll go to him now.
There's a plane in an hour. We'll go together.
There's the whole case history, Dr. Endicott. Fever readings up to an hour ago.
He's been like this all the time?
Semicoma since Tuesday night.
But what have you been doing?
Waiting.
Waiting for what? Waiting for him to die?
Or to live. It was his wish, Francis.
Oh, it's inhuman. You can't do it. You can't. Don't, Phyllis.
Quiet. He's coming around again.
John.
Yes.
Fever. How much?
103 an hour ago. How do you feel?
Groggy. There's a pain in the right lower quadrant of the abdomen. Make a note of it. I want to see how long it lasts.
Right.
Did you take a agglutination test?
Yes.
Result?
Positive wild Felix reaction. Proteus X19 in a dilution of 1/320.
Oh, stop it! Stop it!
Phyllis, you must understand all this is being done for a purpose. As time passes, I'll become weaker and weaker until either the fever breaks or I break. Please help me conserve my strength.
Oh, I'll help you.
Thank you, darling.
He's unconscious.
Not yet. Keep your nerve, Francis. You're an old hand at this sort of thing.
Yes. Yes, Newell. Oh, don't, my dear. Take her outside, Dr. Stafford. I'll take care of him.
Fever. What is it?
103.6.
Oh, going up. Keep taking it. Every hour. What is it now?
It's a little higher.
Tell me.
14.2.
Should break before 105. I can't take 105.
Oh, Newell, it will break. It has to. Newell, can you hear me? You've got to live, Newell. You can't die like this. You can't. It's not for me now. It's for her. She loves you. You've got to live. You can't die. You can't. You can't.
Well, Endicott?
I don't know. Pulse about the same. Heart action weak. This next reading ought to tell.
It's almost time for it, Dr. Endicott.
Wait. Paige. Listen to me. I've told the truth about Mrs. Dexter. Well, don't try to speak now. I should have told it long ago. I just wanted you to know. Thermometer, Miss Ogilvy.
Here. Well?
Get out of my light, please.
Well, what is it?
103. It's going down.
Down. He's licked it.
Oh, thank God. Quiet, dear.
Newell. Newell, do you hear me?
Yes.
You've licked it, Newell. You're down to 103. And you've licked spotted fever. We'll shoot that vaccine into every man, woman, and child in the valley. You've done it, Newell. Do you understand?
Yes. I think I know now what Harcourt meant. The green light. Irresistible onward drive.
Goodbye, Newell, and good luck.
Goodbye, Jono.
Goodbye, fellas. You'll write, won't you?
Of course we will.
My regards to everyone at the hospital, Paige.
You're going to stay here?
I think so. There's work here for me. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Francis.
You better hurry.
So you're really not coming? You've made up your mind?
Yes, Newell. You see, I've had a green light, too. I was stopped for a long time, but I'm going forward again now.
Francis, I'm not going to try to tell you.
No, don't. Just be happy. And make her happy.
You're a good egg, Ogilvy.
Thanks. You are, too.
We lower our curtain on green light. There's a word from Melville Roick, and then Errol Flynn and Olivia de Havilland return to our microphone. Mr. Roick.
Here's an amazing fact, ladies and gentlemen. Amazing to a man, at any rate. Last year's stocking bill for the women of America totaled over $330 million. That's a lot of money. But every woman likes the flattery of lovely stockings, and they certainly do add to her beauty. However, if your stocking bill seems to be getting out of hand, here's a suggestion. Try washing your stockings in Lux Flakes after each wearing. Lux preserves the elasticity of the threads. They give instead of breaking so easily when you bend your knee or stoop down or strain them in any way. Harsh soaps or rubbing with a cake of soap weakens elasticity. Then runs are apt to pop. To cut down these expensive runs, to save on stocking bills, always use Lux Flakes. Here's Mr. DeMille.
A few years ago, when Errol Flynn was knocking about Australia, he and some friends bought a schooner and made a memorable 3,000-mile voyage to New Guinea, as set forth in his widely sold book, Beam Ends. So naturally, I was interested to learn when I was in Boston a couple of weeks ago that he'd just been in town looking for another boat. Does that mean, Errol, that you're planning to lift anchor again for those lazy South Sea islands?
Well, I did buy a boat, Mr. DeMille. 75-foot ketch, which I've named after that old schooner of mine, the Sirocco. And I'm planning a trip, too. But instead of the South Seas, it'll be to the Caribbean this time and through the West Indies.
And when are you leaving, Errol?
Just as soon as the next picture's finished, Louis. Sometime in March.
Hello. Is this another costume piece, like the Adventures of Robin Hood? I understand you're quite a dashing lad in your doublet and buskin and beard.
Well, I hope the public agrees when they see the picture. But in this new one, I'll be back in modern clothes for a change. And when that's finished, and when I return from my trip, I also hope we'll meet again in the Lux Radio Theater. I get a great deal of pleasure listening to this program, and it's still more enjoyable to be able to take part. Many thanks, sir.
I see, Olivia, that your schedule also calls for a little trip.
Yes, for the premiere of another picture, Gold is Where You Find It. A number of the scenes were shot in a little town in northwest California, one of the old gold mining towns called Weaverville. So we're holding the premiere there next Saturday.
Well, I don't know much about Weaverville, but I believe it's the only town in the United States whose real estate had to be imported.
Well, perhaps I'd better explain why. They did so much hydraulic gold mining there that the water washed away all the fertile earth. Grain fields were needed in the picture, so we had to transport growing grain and soil, 2.5 acres, in fact, all the way to Weaverville, where I suppose it's still growing. We just heard that everything is all set for the premiere, but the head of the Businessmen's Association says that they're a bit puzzled. They're not quite sure what we'd like to have after the premiere, chocolate or vanilla ice cream. But it's a fascinating little town, and I'm so anxious to see it once again. And now, my thanks to you all.
Now, let me wish you a most successful premiere, Olivia, and chocolate ice cream. And you, Errol? Clear seas and strong winds.
Thanks, sir. Good night, Mr. DeMille.
Good night. Good night to you both.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your announcer, Melville Ruick. Before Mr. DeMille returns with some most welcome news about our show next week, may I say that our stars were assisted tonight by Janet Young as Mrs. Dexter, Roy Gordon as Dr. Endicott, John Lake as Dr. Lane, Lee Millar as Dr. Booth, Lou Merrill as Chairman, Ethel Wales as Mrs. Howell, Ross Forrester as chauffeur, Henry Anthony as police officer, Coral Colebrook as telephone operator, Ingeborg Tillish as nurse, and James Eagles as a telegraph operator. Louis Silvers, another book by Dr. Douglas, White Banners, is being made now by Warner Brothers. Louis Silvers was in charge of music for Happy Landing at 20th Century Fox Studios, where C. Aubrey Smith is now making Kidnapped. And now, our producer, Mr. DeMille.
Next Monday night, the Lux Radio Theater is privileged to present one of the greatest plays of that distinguished American dramatist, Eugene O'Neill. I refer to his Pulitzer Prize play, that dramatic and powerful love story of the waterfront, which met with such tremendous success on Broadway and in pictures, Anna Christie. And our stars, two of the finest, most popular performers the screen has ever known, Joan Crawford and Spencer Tracy. Our sponsors, the makers of Lux Flakes, join me in inviting you to be with us again next Monday night when the Lux Radio Theater presents Spencer Tracy and Joan Crawford in Anna Christie with George Marion Sr. This is Cecil B. DeMille saying good night to you from Hollywood.
You are listening to Golden Age Radio, rumble.com/C/GAR. Brought to you by G3PL.com.
The secret word tonight is floor. F-L-O-O-R.
Rally.
You bet your life. The more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers of America present Groucho Marx in You Bet Your Life, the comedy quiz series produced and transcribed from Hollywood. And here he is, the one, the only... Groucho!
Oh, come now. Oh, that's me!
Well, here I am again with $1,000 for one of our couples.
We invited some dietitians to the program tonight, Groucho, and just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected Miss Jean Granger. Her partner is a volunteer from the audience, Mr. James Barrows. Folks, come on in and meet Groucho Marx. Over here, sir, please. Right in here. Right here.
Pleased to meet you.
Well, welcome.
Fine.
Welcome to the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. Say the secret word and divide $100. $1,000. $100. It's a common word, something you find around the house. What were you planning to do? Go home already?
I tell you, it's very confusing, you know. I'm a gold bug. You know, I got the gold fever.
I don't care what you got, but don't sneak out of here before I get a crack at you. Huh? James Barrows, eh? What is your hometown, Mr. Barrows?
Boston, Massachusetts.
Well, it's a great town. Somebody out there from Holyoke. I've been in Boston many times. Which part of Boston are you from?
Roxbury, Massachusetts.
Roxbury, huh?
And 4 blocks from John L. Sullivan, the world's greatest fighter. My mother's name was Sullivan, and I'm proud of the Irish. And every second kid about John L. Sullivan didn't say a good word for John L. Sullivan. They had to answer to James A. Barrows. That's hard to believe.
Mr. Barrows, of course you realize that John L. Sullivan's been dead about 40 years, huh?
Yes, sir. But I still...
Are you aware of that?
Yes, but I still got the Sullivan in me.
I see, huh?
Well,
get it out before we get through here. Miss Granger, what sort of a dietitian are you?
I work for the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power.
Oh, you just feed water to people? Is that what you do?
Oh, no, we do much more than that.
What does a dietitian
We're interested in people's eating habits.
Oh, I see. What would you say is the chief dietary problem that people are confronted with?
I think weight is.
Mm-hmm. What do you recommend for people who are overweight?
Well, of course, I recommend a good diet, and I certainly would like to warn people to keep away from fad diets.
Fat diets?
Fad diets. There are so many fad diets.
I don't hear very well. My glasses are not what they used to be. Well, what do you regard as a fad diet?
Oh, there are lots of them. They're very popular, in fact. Let's see, there's lamb chops and pineapple, or there's an orange diet, or a banana diet, or a peanut diet. There are all kinds of diets.
Peanuts?
Yeah.
You mean you can lose weight just by eating peanuts?
Well, some people think they can.
I don't believe it. Did you ever look at an elephant? Now, Mr. Barrows, what sort of work do you do?
I'm a gold sniper.
Is that anything like cigar? What's a gold sniper?
Well, a gold sniper is when you get the gold bug. You get the gold fever, see? Starts out for the gold fields and gets a couple of big nuggets, you know, and this is the year 1952, but I still think I'm a 49er. It's hard to believe.
You mean 1949 or 1849?
1849, because of what anybody says, I still believe that myself, because when I go out to look for these gold nuggets, I find them pretty big, and I really believe that's all I see is gold, gold, gold. Now, that's hard to believe, and the more I look at them, the bigger they get. And I tell everybody, don't get the gold fever. I give them advice. If they don't take it, what can I do about it? That's hard to believe.
Well, it's certainly hard to believe, all right. And there's really not much you can do about it.
No, but I give them advice not to get the gold fever. And some will take it serious. They want to take off. Professors and congressmen and judges, and I talk to all kinds of people, and they want to take off. I say, no, take it easy. Not that big, and calm them down, but they go and look for it. They can't blame me for the gold rush. I nearly started 5 gold rushes in California, and I don't want to start no more. It's hard to believe.
Where do you meet these congressmen?
Oh, sometime I'm hitchhiking with my gold pan across the Mojave Desert or something, and you see, I got money in my pocket. I start with the gold fields, but before I know it, I see Harold's Club, Reno. Boom, I come up there, and, well, I make it pretty good, and sometime I come back, and then I start for Las Vegas, and I bump into Mojave Junction, Death Valley, Scotty's Place, like the Coyote Road, Curtis Creek, the Federal River, the Yuba River, the Snake River, Idaho, Calvert, Colorado County. Nuggets, 75 pounds. See?
Well, come on, I'll go with you.
Wait a minute. Don't get us Wait a minute.
I got it as bad as you got it.
Wait a minute. See, I tell you.
I can't stand it any longer.
I know it's hard to believe. I know.
Sitting here eking out these few bucks here when I could be hitchhiking with a pan of gold. I'm only human, too, you know.
Yes. Don't get the gold fever. Believe me.
I've got it.
I haven't got the intelligence, but the most intelligent people in the world, when I talk about the big nuggets, gee, have you really got them? I says, well, I got a suitcase full of rocks I carried along. Yes,
And you
I
had
am.
this suitcase with you, huh?
Yeah, full of rocks, you know,
Yeah,
75-pound gold nuggets.
You got rocks in your suitcase. Maybe that explains everything.
So any place he comes in, on the Feather River, the Yuba River, Death Valley, Junction, Coyote Walk, Furnace Creek, or Goldfield, Nevada, or Tonopah, Nevada, wherever it happened to be.
Well, Jim, this has been very innovating, the whole thing, and I must say it's been an interesting experience talking to you.
And I still got the gold fever. Don't think I ain't.
Let's go. Here we go again.
You want to see me yet on the highways and the byways with that gold fever?
I hope so, Jim, and I hope you're very successful and have a big strike someday, huh? I hope you win lots of money tonight, because in just 1 minute you're going to play You Bet Your Life for a chance at the $1,000 question. But first, I want you to pay attention to this.
Friends, when you drive, it's important that you have a clear view of the road ahead. This is especially true in wet, rainy, or stormy weather. That's why DeSoto is equipped with electric windshield wipers for your safety. You see, ordinary windshield wipers slow down or stop whenever extra acceleration is used. But electric windshield wipers maintain a constant, steady speed, regardless of engine load. This means that even in a situation that requires extra acceleration, your powerful DeSoto electric windshield wipers will maintain their same steady, reliable clearing action, never slow down or stop. In a DeSoto, you can pass a car on a straightaway or climb the steepest hill, assured that your electric windshield wipers will keep working to give you a clear view of the road ahead. DeSoto electric windshield wipers are just one of the many safety features you get when you buy DeSoto. Features like DeSoto safety rim wheels that materially reduce the danger of loss of control after a blowout, big DeSoto 12-inch brakes, and wonderful DeSoto full power steering that gives you safer, surer road control. Stop in at your DeSoto Plymouth dealers tomorrow and see the car designed for your safety, DeSoto. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth, the low-priced car most like high-priced cars.
All right, now that's nice and quiet. Let's see how you work together as a team. Fire Dome Fenneman?
Yes, sir.
Would you mind explaining the rules here?
Well, you bet as much of your $20 as you want on each of 4 questions, and the couple that earns the most money gets a chance at the DeSoto Plymouth $1,000 question at the end of the show.
You ready?
Ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. From our list of 20 categories, you selected number 13, Hawaii, as your category. How much of the 20 are you going to bet? Talk right up, kid.
$15.
$15. The largest active volcano in the world is on the island of Hawaii. What is the name of it?
It's in Honolulu.
I think it's Mauna Loa.
Mauna Loa.
Yeah, Mauna Loa is right.
Right. Mauna Loa is right. Well, I ain't never been there.
Now, remember, you're going for $1,000 tonight. Now, how much of the $35 you're going to try this time?
25?
All right, 25.
All right. What do you call a feast done in the native style?
A luau.
A luau is correct.
Now you have $60.
Here's your third question. How much of the 60 will you risk?
We bet 50.
Ooh, 45?
All right, 45.
All right. What do they call the garlands or necklaces of native flowers that are joined together?
Lays.
Lays is correct.
You now have $105.
And is your last chance to beat the other couples. How much of this money will you try?
What do you think?
95?
95.
95. One of Hawaii's most beautiful beaches commands a good view of the famous Diamond Head. What is the name of this beach?
Waikiki.
Waikiki is correct.
And you wind up with $200.
Thanks and good luck from the DeSoto Plymouth dealers.
Groucho, we invited some hotel men.
Well, now, maybe I'll get a chance to talk.
Groucho, we invited some hotel men to the program
I didn't
tonight.
know there was any man could out-talk me.
We invited some hotel men to the program tonight.
I see.
And just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected Mr. Herb Lopier. His partner is a young lady from the audience, Miss Olivia Eastus. Folks, meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome to You Bet Your Life. Say the secret word and divide $100. It's a common word, something you find around the house. Olivia Eastus, huh? That's you, huh?
That's right.
And Mr. Lopier?
Yeah, that's right.
Olivia, where are you from?
Abilene, Texas.
Abilene, Texas? I thought that was a cold cream, huh? I know Eastus is Eastus, but I didn't know Eastus was in Texas. Well, that takes care of that. Now, that's kind of a curious name. What kind of a name is Eastus?
It's a Welsh name.
Welsh?
Yes, it's...
Do you sing the Welsh songs?
Yes, I can, but I want to tell you about the name.
Well, I wish you would.
Well, it's about...
As long as you don't discuss gold mining, I'll be very happy to listen to anything you have to say.
Well,
Talking to Miss Eastis is like a week in the country.
It's about 1,100 years old.
Well, you don't look that old. And Mr. Lopez, you're the hotel man, huh?
That's right.
Where are you from?
I'm from the City of Good Neighbors, Buffalo, New York.
Are you married, Lydia?
No.
Not quite certain, are you? Have you ever come close to marriage?
Well, I was engaged once, but...
Just once?
Well, the last time.
I see.
But...
What happened?
Well, my fiancé kicked my Siamese cat, and I gave him back the ring. Now, that's the truth.
You gave the ring to the cat?
No, I gave the ring back to my fiancé because I didn't know but what he might start kicking me after we were married.
I've heard of Puss in Boots, but this is the first time I've ever heard of a boot and a puss. Now, let's talk about your hotel. Which one are you with?
I'm with the Statler.
Oh, that's a fine hotel. I've stayed there many times. How come I've never seen you there?
Well, what city were you in? We're in 8 cities, and...
Well, this one was in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Is that the one you're with?
Well, we don't have any hotel in Cheyenne.
I don't know who to believe, you or my crooked bath towels. You say you have no hotel in Cheyenne?
No.
Well, which one do you work for?
Well, I work for the new Statler in Los Angeles.
Oh, I stayed there last March. I must say your service was terrible and the rooms were drafty. Never felt such a breeze now. Are you responsible for that?
Well, hardly. The hotel wasn't built then. Wasn't completed.
Wasn't finished, did it?
No.
Well, any hotel that'll take me in is finished. Well, tell us something about this hotel. I've been reading about it in the papers. How does it differ from any other hotel?
Well, the hotel is 13 stories high. It's 5 wings. In the hotel, there are 1,275 rooms, and they're all outside.
Well, when I want to sleep in the park, I don't have to register at your hotel.
And,
I'm not sure I don't like the old-fashioned hotels better. That one in Cheyenne, Wyoming was a good... Gold nuggets all over the lobby. Trouble is you had to stoop down to pick them up. What else is different about it?
Well, the keyhole is in the door.
Now you're talking, huh? What about
It's
the keyhole?
above the doorknob.
What's that?
It's above the doorknob.
The keyhole is above the doorknob?
Oh, yes, absolutely. It's a convenience
You
to the
regard
guest
that as an
to see it.
advantage to have the keyhole above?
Oh, absolutely.
I used to bump my head on the doorknob, but this time I'll knock my teeth out. I'm off to Cheyenne on the warm morning, huh? Well, it's been restful talking to you two, and I wish you both lots of luck in the quiz. By the way, take a tip from me and drive the new DeSoto Fire Dome 8. It's really a great car. Now, we're going to play You Bet Your Life for $1,000. All you got to do is beat our other couples, and you get a chance at the $1,000 question. I can't tell you how much you have to win, but Fire Dome Fenneman is going to remind our listeners.
The gold prospector and his partner won $200. The secret word is floor.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected famous United States athletes. Here's your first question. How much will you bet?
15.
Talk up, kids.
$15.
15. In what sport is Patty Berg famous?
Golf.
Galalov is right.
Well, you're off to a good start. You have $35.
Remember, you're going for $1,000 tonight. How much of the $35 will you try now?
$34.99. We'll leave 1 penny.
Is that all right with you?
Make it 98.
98?
It's up to you. You go
Well,
ahead. $34.99 is all right.
99. We'll leave 1 penny.
$34.99.
Mm-hmm.
In what sport is Cecil Smith famous? C-E-C-I-L.
He's boating?
Pretty sure.
Come on.
Bowling.
No, I'm sorry. He's a very famous polo player. How much have they got?
1 cent.
See, you should have bet $34.98. All right, here's your third question. How much of the penny are you going to bet?
All of it.
All of it, eh? In what sport is Ralph Branca famous?
Baseball.
Baseball is right. Now you got 2 cents. See, I can figure this out, too. Now they have 2 cents. Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much of the 2 cents will you bet?
Shoot it.
In what sport is Willie Hoppy famous?
He's a billiard champion.
Billiard champion is right.
Groucho, they wind up with 4 cents.
Nobody leaves here with 4 cents. I give you one more question. You get this out, and we'll bring your winnings up to $25. You ready? Who was buried in Grant's tomb?
General Grant.
General Grant is right. Thanks and good luck from the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers.
We have a couple of volunteers from our studio audience, Groucho. They were selected just before we went on the air, and here they are, Miss Carol Marie Levique and Mr. Terrence Patrick O'Brien. Meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome for the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers. Say the secret word and you'll win $100. It's a common word, something you find around the house. Miss Carol Levique and Mr. Terrence Patrick O'Brien. Carol, what kind of a name is Levique?
It's Levesque. It's a French
It's
name.
Levesque. What kind of a name is Levesque?
It's a French name.
What part of France are you from?
Oh, I was born in Hollywood Hospital.
Is that in Paris?
No, it's in Hollywood.
Just checking. How long ago did this happen?
19 years ago.
19 years ago. Well, you're a fine-looking girl there, Carol.
Thank you.
Mr. Terrence Patrick O'Brien, eh? What part of France are you from, monsieur?
No, I was born in Washington, D.C.
You come from an old Washington family?
My ancestors, they came from County Clare and County Cork, Ireland. So I guess that makes me an Irishman, I guess. But I like Paddy's pig, I don't know.
Are you married, Terry?
I sure am, Groucho. I'm married.
Did you marry her? Did you marry a little Irish Colleen?
No, I'm sorry you asked me that. I was supposed to marry an Irish girl, but I wound up marrying a Scotch girl. I don't know how that happened. I changed the name, though. I call her Dugan now. Everybody calls her Dugan. Even her father calls her Dugan. So.
But she's still Scotch, huh?
Well, yes, she sure is.
Well, everybody gets tough breaks. There's nothing you can do about it. How did you meet this fabulous Mrs. O'Brien?
Well, I was a short order cook in the restaurant there, and she used to come in and eat.
Where was this?
In Washington, D.C.
Oh.
And she'd come in and eat, and generally she'd wind up eating about $8 worth of chow, and I'd charge her a nickel, and so she liked me.
How long did you work at this place?
A couple of weeks.
Well, that's easy to understand. How soon after you pauperized this proprietor did you ask her to marry you?
Well, as it turned out, we had a date there, the very first date, and we went up to Pat Corrigan's bar, a little place he used to go to, and drinking kissable colas, and she asked me to marry her.
What's a kissable cola? What's a kissable cola?
Well, I don't know, but you wind up getting married if you drink too many.
Well, thanks for the warning, Pat. Now, after you left your job as a cook, what sort of work did you engage in?
Well, I found out from my wife that her father was pretty well loaded. You know, he was...
Was he taking these kissable colas, too? Well, anyhow, there was your father loaded, and what happened?
Well, he was a pretty good old duck, or he seemed like it, and he had 7 trucks and a nice business.
Not so loud. This duck listens to every word you say.
And... So I told him that perhaps he'd like to give his son-in-law, you know, a job as a general manager or something like that. But he said his business was in too good shape to let me have any... He made me a truck driver, yeah. I was a truck driver.
He made you a truck driver?
I was a truck driver.
And what'd you do with this truck driver?
Well, I did pretty well there for a while.
Oh, no, you were the truck driver, huh?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I thought you said he made you a truck driver. I wondered.
I worked for him for several weeks, and then I asked him about this general manager's job, and it wasn't coming, so I quit. No point in
No,
staying too long.
I think it's silly to stay in any job where you're not general manager. Well, what happened after that?
Well, I found out from my wife that her grandfather was pretty well loaded, too. No, he was the general superintendent of all the mines in Alabama. You know, an awful lot of mines in Alabama.
Yeah.
And I said that maybe he could use a general manager or vice president or something. He told me.
Why don't you
that...
throw your hat in the ring for president? Well, what happened then? What kind of work did he want you to do?
Well, I went to work there. I was shooting off the dynamite in the mine. And the job, I didn't like the job too much.
Why, were you connected with the dynamite?
No, I set off the explosive charges, and I didn't like it. It didn't look too good. And
with that kind of a job, you can get to the top in a hurry.
I quit that.
Well, what finally happened?
Well, I quit, and I told my wife. My wife plays the piano, you know. She's very good.
In the mine?
No. And I told her that perhaps we could go to New Orleans or someplace, and we could play the piano together as a team, you know. It looked like a pretty good deal. So we went down to New Orleans with that in mind.
And?
Well,
What happened down there in the bayou?
Well, we didn't do too good down there. Sad. She was doing all right. I was having a little trouble myself. I wasn't doing so good.
Why was that?
Well, I didn't know how to play the piano. But, no, really. No.
You mean you had a job as a piano player and you couldn't play the piano?
Well, we never got the first
I told you to
job.
run for president, didn't I?
No, I intended to do the right thing. I was going to learn how to play, and...
Oh, sure, you could have picked it up overnight. It's nothing to it. Well, it's been enlightening talking to you two. I'd like to continue, but now it's time to play You Bet Your Life. Now, you run your $20 into more than our other couples, and you'll get a chance at the $1,000 question. I can't tell you how much you have to win, but George is going to remind our listeners.
The gold prospector and his partner lead with $200.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected barbershop ballads as your category. And after that piano playing you did in New Orleans, you ought to be pretty good at this. Here's your first question. How much will you go for?
We'll go for 15.
Okay.
All right. What is the name of this old-time favorite? Play, Jerry.
No, Strawberry Blonde.
Strawberry Blonde is right.
Thank you.
You now have $35.
Jordan, you got $35, and how much you going to bet this time, my lad?
Let's go for...
How much do we have?
You have $35.
35. $34.99.
Why don't you get a hold of yourself, girl? 30, how much is it? $34.98. We'll save 2 cents.
You're saving 2 cents.
2 cents.
Okay, here we go.
$34.98, right?
Give me the title of this song. Mr. Fielding. One answer.
Can't you hear me calling Carolina? That's what it is. Can't you hear me calling Carolina?
Can't you hear me calling Carolina?
You've now climbed to $69.98.
And here's your third question. How much are you going to bet?
$69.97.
Is that all right with you?
Is that okay?
Okay. Let's see if you can identify this one. Play, Jerry.
Moonlight Bay.
Moonlight Bay is right.
You've now climbed to $139.95.
It's a good thing this fellow didn't take piano lessons.
We'll go for all of it.
All of it.
All of it, all right. It's your last chance to beat the other couples. You're going to go for all of it. What is the name of this song?
Meet me tonight in Dreamland.
Meet Me Tonight in Dreamland is right. Put it there. I'll give you a big kiss.
Okay.
Look at that. What about me?
And before you go away, you wound up with $279.90. Pretty good. Thank you.
Which means?
Oh, yes, the results.
Fenneman on the ball there, huh?
And that means...
daydreaming.
Hey, kids, that means that you, too, get a chance at the DeSoto Plymouth $1,000 question in just 1 minute. Yes. When you drive your car to a DeSoto Plymouth dealer for service, you can be sure of this. You'll get friendly service, courteous service. And you'll get the kind of service that will mean many extra miles of top performance from your car at a price that's fair. You see, the mechanics at your DeSoto Plymouth dealers are skilled men, master technicians, with years of on-the-job experience. What's more, these DeSoto Plymouth dealer mechanics get regular, periodic training in the latest factory methods, so they're always up on the latest and best methods of servicing your car. They have the most modern tools and equipment to work with, helping them to do a better job faster, which means a real saving to you. And if your car should ever need them, your DeSoto Plymouth dealer has ready access to the correct factory-designed and approved parts. So, for friendly, courteous, efficient service for your car, it will pay you to drive in at the famous sign of better service, the friendly sign of a DeSoto Plymouth dealer. Well, there comes Mr. O'Brien and his partner, the winning couple, Groucho, all set for the DeSoto Plymouth $1,000 question. Right back.
Well, here you are, my lad and lassie. Here we go for $1,000. I'll give you 15 seconds to decide on a single answer between you. Think carefully, and please no help in the audience. Here it is. One of Great Britain's most important institutions is known as the Old Lady of Threadneedle Street. It was founded in 1694. For $1,000, what is the Old Lady of Threadneedle Street? What's the answer you two have decided on?
Cabinet or Prime Minister or something?
No, I'm sorry. It's the Bank of England.
Oh.
Correct answer is the Bank of England, so that means the big question next week will be worth $1,500. Well, you lost the big money, but how much did they win the quiz, George?
Well, they won $279.90 in the
Well,
quiz.
congratulations, and thanks to both of you and to all of our contestants on the show tonight.
Thank you, Mr.
Be sure to tune in again next Wednesday night at this same time for the Groucho Marx Show, when the big question will be worth $1,500. And don't miss Groucho's television show, also presented by the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth. Two great cars, both products of the Chrysler Corporation.
And when you drive in, tell them Groucho sent you. Good night, folks, and remember, see the DeSoto Fire Dome 8 tomorrow.
The DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America salute the American Automobile Association on the occasion of its Golden Jubilee for 50 years of service to the motorist and the nation. You Bet Your Life, transcribed from Hollywood, is produced by John Goodell, directed by Robert Dwan and Bernie Smith, music by Jerry Fielding. This is George Fenneman signing off for the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast.
You are listening to Golden Age Radio, rumble.com/C/GAR, brought to you by G3PL.com.
The 11th Forum of the New York Herald Tribune on Current Problems features an address by the President of the United States. Here is the publisher of the Herald Tribune to introduce the President, Mrs. Ogden Reed.
Before the forum was undertaken this year, the chief executive of the nation was consulted about the kind of program that might prove useful. Obviously, current war problems could not be discussed, but we believed it important just now, not only as a means of heartening the war effort, but in preparation for the difficult task of reconstruction ahead, to clarify to some extent our ideas for the kind of world for which we are fighting. In closing the forum of 1942, I feel sure you will all wish to join with me in saluting our Commander-in-Chief, who has so brilliantly effected the start of a second front in North Africa. I have the great honor of presenting to you the President of the United States.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have always welcomed the opportunity to participate in the Herald Tribune Forum because I have always been interested in the public presentation of all kinds of national problems. In time of peace, every variety of problem and issue is an interesting subject for public discussion. But in time of war, the American people know that the one all-important job before them is fighting and working to win. Therefore, of necessity, while long-range social and economic problems are by no means forgotten, they are a little like books which for the moment we have laid aside in order that we might get out the old atlas to learn the geography of the battle areas. In time of war, your government cannot always give spot news to the people. Nearly everybody understands that and the reason for it. This means that those relatively few people who do have the facts from all over the world, not only every day, but every hour of every day, are somewhat precluded from discussing these facts publicly, except in the most general of terms. If they did, they would almost inevitably say things that would help the people who are trying to destroy us. In reverse, those who are not in possession of all the news must almost inevitably speak from guesswork based on information of doubtless accuracy. Though they do not know the facts, and therefore the value of their statements becomes greatly reduced. Nor must we, in the actual progress of the war, lend ears to the clamor of politics or to criticism from those who, as we know in our hearts, are actuated by political motives. The fact that this type of criticism has done less harm in the United States than might be expected has been due to the good old horse sense of the American people. I know from a somewhat long experience in wartime as well as peacetime that the overwhelming majority of our people know how to discriminate in their reading and in their radio listening between informed discussion and verbal thrusts in the dark. I think you'll realize that I have made a constant effort as Commander-in-Chief to keep politics out of the fighting of this war. But I must confess that my foot slipped once. About 10 days before the late election day, one of our aircraft carriers was torpedoed in the Southwest Pacific. She did not sink at once, but it became clear that she could not make port. She was therefore destroyed by our own forces. We in Washington did not know whether the enemy was aware of her sinking, for there were no Japanese ships near enough to see her go down. You will realize, of course, that the actual knowledge of the loss of enemy ships has a definite bearing on continuing naval operations for some time after the event. We, for instance, know that we have sunk a number of Japanese aircraft carriers, and we know that we have bombed or torpedoed others. We would give a king's ransom to know whether the latter were sunk or were saved, repaired, and put back into commission. However, when we got news of the sinking of this particular ship, a great issue was being raised in the Congress and in the public vehicles of information as to the suppression of news from the fighting fronts. There was a division of opinion among responsible authorities. Here came my mistake. I yielded to the clamor. I did so partly in realization of the certainty that if the news of the sinking were given out 2 or 3 weeks later, it would be publicly charged that the news had been suppressed by me until after the election. Then, shortly thereafter, protests came in. Protests from the admirals in command in the Southwest Pacific and at our great base in Hawaii, on the ground that in all probability the Japanese Navy had no information of the sinking, and that handing them the information on a silver platter, although we were careful not to reveal the name of the carrier, still gave to the Japanese a military advantage which they otherwise would not have had. This confession of mine illustrates to the people of this country the fact that in time of war, the conduct of that war with the aim of victory comes absolutely first. They know that not one of their inalienable rights is taken away through the failure to disclose to them for a reasonable length of time facts. Facts that Hitler and Mussolini and Tojo would give their eye teeth to learn. Facts, therefore, become paramount. Facts that cannot be told to the public at the time, as well as facts that can and should be told at all times. The posters that tell you loose talk costs lives do not exaggerate. Loose talk delays victory. Loose talk is the damp that gets into the powder. We prefer to keep our powder dry. We have a gigantic job to do, all of us, together. Our battle lines today stretch from Kiska to Murmansk, from Tunisia to Guadalcanal. These lines will grow longer as our forces advance. Yes, we have an uphill fight, and it will continue to be uphill all the way. There can be no coasting to victory. During the past 2 weeks, we have had a great deal of good news, and it would seem that the turning point of this war has at last been reached. But this is no time for exultation. There is no time now for anything but fighting and working to win. A few days ago, as our army advanced through North Africa, on the other side of the world, our Navy was fighting what was one of the greatest battles of our history. A very powerful Japanese force was moving at night toward our positions in the Solomon Islands. The spearhead of the force that we sent to intercept the enemy was under the command of Rear Admiral Daniel J. Callahan. He was aboard the leading ship, the cruiser San Francisco. The San Francisco sailed right into the enemy fleet, right through the whole enemy fleet, her guns blazing. She engaged and hit 3 enemy vessels, sinking one of them. At point-blank range, she engaged an enemy battleship, heavily her superior in size and firepower. She silenced this battleship's big guns and so disabled her that she could be sunk by torpedoes from our destroyers and aircraft. The San Francisco herself was hit many times. Admiral Callahan, my close personal friend, and many of his gallant officers and men gave their lives in this battle, but the San Francisco was brought safely back to port by a lieutenant commander, and she will fight again for her country. The commander of the task force of which the San Francisco was a part has recommended that she be the first of our Navy's vessels to be decorated for outstanding service. But there are no citations, no medals, which carry with them such high honor as that accorded to fighting men by the respect of their comrades in arms. The commanding general of the Marines in Guadalcanal, General Vandergrift, yesterday sent a message to the commander of the fleet, Admiral Halsey, saying, "We lift our battered helmets in admiration for those who fought magnificently against overwhelming odds and drove the enemy back to crushing defeat." Let us thank God for such men as these. May our nation continue to be worthy of them throughout this war and forever.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard the President of the United States. And now, our national anthem.
We wish to thank Brown and Williamson, the makers of Raleigh cigarettes, for relinquishing part of their time of the Red Skelton program in order that you might hear the special program that's just been concluded. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Raleigh Cigarette Show starring Red Skelton.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you, Truman?
Hello, Red. Say, Red, how'd you like the party Mr. Raleigh gave the other night?
Oh, it was just peachy.
Did you like the sandwiches?
Oh, just peachy.
And the drinks?
Peachy.
And did you like the girl I brought for you?
She was a little fuzzy, too.
Well, Red, we had fun when we went to the fight at the American Legion Stadium anyway.
Yeah. Say, Harriet, did you enjoy the fight the other night?
Oh, I certainly did, Red. Say, what was that thing that fell out of the fighter's mouth when he was hit on the jaw?
Oh, that was his mouthpiece.
Oh, gee, that lawyer will work anywhere to make $1, won't he?
Say, you know, Wonderful Smith used to be a fighter. Hey, come here, Wonderful.
Wonderful. Did you used to be a fighter?
Why, yes, ma'am, Miss Harriet. I'll never forget my first fight.
What happened?
Well, I ran out on the canvas, and the next thing I knew, I was part of it.
Well, when you fought Wonderful, did you stand back and box like Jim Corbett, or did you get in there and slug like Dempsey?
No, I ran like Romo.
Look, Wonderful, were you ever carried out of the ring on stretchers?
No, I used to have silver handles sewed onto my shorts.
Well, you know, I used to be a pugilist.
A what?
A pugilist. Pugilist, you know, P-U...
Yeah, that's you. You a fighter? You know, Red, I can't picture you as a fighter.
Listen, I'm in pretty good shape, Truman, considering I was very puny when I was a baby.
Yeah.
In fact, I was so puny they were going to drown me.
Well, why didn't they?
They were ashamed to be seen carrying me down to the river.
I was punchy once. But I'm terribly muscular now.
You are?
Yeah, here, feel my right arm.
Let's see. Hey, those shoulder pads are losing weight.
Now feel my left arm. Now get a load of that chest.
Yes.
Well, what do you think?
I'm sorry, I can't give you more than 4 cents a pound. Hello, operator. Operator, this is J. Newton Numbskull.
Deposit a nickel, please.
Okay.
Was that a nickel?
Oh, I just turning in some scrap.
What number do you want, please?
I want to talk to my wife. I got the number here.
What's her number, please?
Don't be silly. She hasn't had a number since she was paroled.
Pardon me, sir. I'll get your number for you.
Would you?
Yeah, operator, give me golden.
Pardon me, what was that prefix, please?
Golden. Like the more golden tobaccos you can see in Raleigh cigarettes. You know, the more golden tobaccos that experts agree are choicer, more expensive.
You'll have to call information.
That's right. For your information, golden means sunshine. And warm sunshine gently ripens the 31 rich golden tobaccos that are blended into Raleigh cigarettes for unrivaled richness, smoothness, mildness.
Just a moment, mister. You're taxing my patience.
Sure, I know there's a new cigarette tax, but with Raleigh cigarettes, you get valuable golden coupons worth 1 1/2 times as much as the recently added tax. They're redeemable for cash, 3/4 cent each. That's around a dime dividend when you buy Raleighs by the carton. Raleigh coupons may also be redeemed for war stamps. Yes, and for dozens and dozens of handsome luxury premiums.
Just a moment. I better get my wife myself. Hello, operator. Operator. Now she's gone.
Sure, she's going to get the pack with the coupon on the back. Raleigh cigarettes.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we celebrate a birthday. 1 year ago tonight, we introduced to the air for the first time a mean little boy called Junior. So tonight we're going to look back and see what would happen if he'd have thought of all of his escapades in one night. So Harriet, you be my mother, and I'll be the mean little kid. Mummy, we gonna starve.
Why, Junior?
Well, you know that turkey we got for dinner?
Yeah.
Well, Pop picked all the feathers off of it, and then he jumped out of the pan and ran away.
Oh, don't be silly. He's in the oven.
I knew I would find out where he was. You know, I kind of sorry we killed that old turkey.
You are?
Yeah, but he put up a great fight, though, didn't he? 3 times he took the axe away from Pop.
Now, Junior, don't bother me.
Okay.
I'm busy cooking.
All right.
Wait a minute. Where did you get that black eye?
I was playing Peep and Tom.
What happened?
I peeped when I should have Tom.
Oh, go play, Junior.
Okay, I will run around the room a couple of times. A little exercise. Whoop. Hey, Mummy, I found me roller skate. Oh, somebody at the door. I will go see who it is. Somebody at the door. Somebody at the door.
Hello, who sent you, Joe?
Hello, son.
Hey, what you selling?
Nothing.
What you collecting for?
Nothing.
Who you got a warrant for?
No one.
I'm sorry, Bub, you got the wrong house.
Oh, Junior, why did you slam the door in that man's face?
Oh, wouldn't you like to know?
Good morning. I'm awfully sorry.
Is your husband home?
Uh-oh, the FBI. I better tell Pop to set off them printing presses.
Printing presses?
Yeah.
Well, what's he printing?
I can't tell you. But he sure has those pictures of Washington and Lincoln down pretty good.
Junior, now you get in the other room.
Okay. Oh, look, the window is up. I think I will crawl out and eavesdrop. Well, what do you know? They washed her. I thought it was over.
Junior, what did you break? Meow. Oh, that darn cat, he breaks more things.
It always was. Boy, oh boy. Hey, one for your life. I just put a firecracker in the goldfish bowl. That'll teach them to make faces at me. Hey, Mummy, can I have a walnut?
Well, just one. Dinner will be ready pretty soon.
Okay, I will bite it open. Well, there goes the last of me baby teeth. Hey, Mummy, look what I learned today. I can slide down the banister and turn around halfway down. Watch me.
Now, you stop that. You want to fall on your head and put a dent in the floor?
Don't worry, I won't do that no more.
Why not?
I was going south, and I met a splinter going north.
I'm going to go out and finish dinner.
Okay.
You sit in that chair and don't let me hear one peep out of you.
No, I want to go with you.
No.
Now, you let me go with you or I will tell.
You'll tell what?
I will tell everybody you used to be a barmaid.
Oh, I was not.
Oh, no. Hey, Queenie, 2 beers.
Coming right up. Now, Junior, you sit in this chair like I told you.
Okay. Oh, you broke me with a bat. You broke me with a bat. You threw me in a chair and broke me with a bat.
I couldn't break your back on that chair. It's upholstered with pillows.
Sure is soft, isn't it, man? Hey, Mummy, if you let me go with you, I will be good.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
But just because I trust you. Because you wouldn't say that if you didn't mean it.
You don't know me very well, does you, boy?
Well, come on.
Okay.
Oh, wait till I get the milk off the porch.
Okay. Here, let me carry it.
No, I'll carry it.
No, I want to carry it. Okay, you can carry it.
Oh, Junior!
Don't you hit me. Uh-oh, somebody back at the door. I will go. Howdy.
Well, what a pleasant smile.
Who's smiling? I got a banana in my mouth, sideways.
Sonny, will you tell your mother I'm here to collect the rent?
Oh, the rent. Hey, Mummy, Simon agrees here. Hey, come on in. The new Esquire just came and got some pretty nice cartoons, too.
Oh, do you like Esquire?
Sure. I ain't always going to be widow, you know.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning. I was just talking to your little boy. He
Yeah.
sure is healthy.
Ain't I
Well,
done?
yes, he is now.
Yeah.
But he was pretty ill when he was a baby.
Yes, I was.
We thought we were going to lose him.
Yeah, but they didn't take me far enough out in the woods.
Won't you sit down?
Thanks.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, make yourself at home. Take off your shoes. Do you drink?
Why, yes.
Very bad habit. Well, here I is, all alone. Took a long time, but here I is. Oh, look, the landlord left his car out here. I think I would get in and sit down. Oh, boy. Oh, look, he left the keys in the car. I all by myself, too. If I do, I get a whipping. I do it. I got calluses anyway. I got to learn to drive sometime. I just turn it on and press it. Oh, I'm moving. Mummy.
Junior! Good heavens, what happened? Are you hurt?
That depends on what you going to do to me.
Oh, look at my car.
Nice hunk of salvage, if you ask me, Bob.
Oh, Junior, get in the house.
Okay.
Why are you so mean?
I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't have a little brother to play with.
Oh. Junior, would you like to have a little brother to play with?
Well, if it's all the same to you, I'd just soon have a pony.
Look, dear, will you do me a favor? I want you to take this pumpkin pie next door to Mrs. Denny.
Now, she ought to know better than that.
Now, be careful, because it's got whipped cream on the top.
Okay. Oh, boy, don't that look good? I will carry it like a bowling ball. Oh, boy.
I wonder if he'd be as mean if I hadn't had that witch doctor when he was born.
Well, here I is back. I think I'm going to go up and wash me widow face and take a nap.
Why, don't you want to eat?
Now, for some reason, I ain't hungry.
Hello? Why, Mrs. Denny, I sent that pie over by Junior.
Trouble in the front.
Oh, now I'm beginning to understand.
Now there'll be a little trouble in the rear.
Junior, come here.
Well, that's you lately, darling. I will.
Come here.
You'll never take me alive.
Junior, what happened to that pie?
Now, wait a minute. Let's not get nosy, Mom.
Did you eat that pumpkin pie, Junior?
Nope, only half of it, the punk part.
Why didn't you eat all of it?
Well, what, you think I ate, a pig?
What did you do with the part you didn't?
Well, I put a hunt over in this pocket.
Oh, now you're going to get it.
What'd you do that for? I had a hunt in that pocket, too.
Hey, fellas, you pipe smokers, here's a word about uniforms.
Pipe smokers, Sir Walter Raleigh has given the tin off its pack to help win the war. Now it comes to you fully protected in its new Home Guard uniform. Same familiar orange and black design, but free of metal. And, of course, in keeping with its vital role in providing a peaceful pause from war work, Sir Walter Raleigh is rich and mild, smoothly satisfying. Blended in a masterful manner from extra-choice burleys, Sir Walter Raleigh is flavor-packed with a mellow, nut-like goodness, pleasingly aromatic. Tonight, try the quality pipe tobacco of America, Sir Walter Raleigh.
Remember, we'll all be back again next Tuesday at the same time. Red Skelton, Ozzie Nelson and his orchestra, Harriet Hilliard, Wonderful Smith, and yours truly, Truman Bradley. In the meantime, listen to the Tommy Dorsey Show tomorrow night over most of these same stations. Until next Tuesday, then.
This is Red Skelton saying goodbye now, and thanks for listening. And to save gas, share your car.
Red Skelton is heard on this program through the courtesy of the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios. This program has been broadcast to the armed forces overseas and has come to you from Hollywood. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
You have been listening to Golden Age Radio, rumble.com/C/GAR, brought to you by G3PL.com. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos.
I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to Old Time Radio Research Group for their remarkable efforts in preserving and archiving the captivating world of old-time radio programs. Their dedication to safeguarding these precious audio gems ensures that future generations can relish the enchanting stories, music, and entertainment of the past. Their invaluable contribution allows us to step back in time and experience the magic of radio history firsthand. Their link is in the description below.